Ellen and Sandra, I have two words for you tonight. Reflecting Shakespeare. That is the title of a program that teaches Shakespeare to people behind bars. And here in San Diego County, we're talking about a program that is teaching Shakespeare to women who are incarcerated at Las Colinas. That's the county jail. Karen Ann Daniels is the Associate Director of Arts Engagement at the Old Globe, and she is responsible for this program. Tell me, the obvious question is, why Shakespeare in prison, and what does a poet and playwright who lived some 400 years ago have to say to a woman who's sitting in a jail cell in San Diego?
Well, I mean, I think it has the same thing to say as it does to all of us. If we connect to it through the themes of the plays: jealousy, loss, love, lust, dreams. All of these things really connect to us on a very human level, which I think is the reason that Shakespeare has endured all this time to all people.
Now, the Globe brings instructors into the jail, and for 12 sessions, 2 to 3 hours each, the women sit there, and what do they do? What does the course entail?
The course entails, at the beginning of the class, it is getting together and agreeing on sort of a way to operate together. Some accountability. They play theater games. So you're not in a theater class if you don't play some games. And then they really read the Shakespeare together. And then they write reflections. So a lot of times they take journals back with them, and they're left with a thought to reflect on during the week, and then they come back. And then that work eventually is included and wrapped into the Shakespeare itself. At the end of that 12 weeks, they actually then perform a version of that play they've been studying.
And they actually read something of what they've written.
Yes, exactly.
Can you share some of that with us tonight?
Absolutely. So this was inspired by Midsummer Night's Dream, and their focus on this piece is about dreams. Sometimes when I wake up and I see myself in this place, I want to go back to sleep, to imagine that I'm not here, and instead to be next to my family and son in my sacred home. I often think about going back in time to avoid making the same mistakes and making better decisions.
And that was written by a female inmate at Las Colinas. Obviously, a work of some self-reflection.
Absolutely. And that's really the whole point of the program. It's not so much for people to quote Shakespeare as it is to really process life in a different way than maybe they have before.
Okay, and let's talk about life choices. Patricia Ceballos is with the Sheriff's Department, and she is in charge or a coordinator of the Reentry Program. Simply put, what is Reentry?
Reentry is focusing our efforts on the individuals in our custody, really offering them opportunities for support, opportunities for change, and really looking at the individual as a person and how we can best support that person, knowing that that individual touches other people in our community.
Why should a program like this make a difference?
Well, looking at bringing creative arts, bringing the theater to a restrictive environment, and really giving people the opportunity to be set free in their creative process, and really working through some of the things that they've been through in life in a creative way. Again, giving them another opportunity for success as we think about what reentry will look like for that person, and incorporating different avenues for opportunity and success.
Opportunity and success, very important words. Now, the Old Globe also has a touring production every year of a Shakespeare play. That's called Globe for All. It performs in homeless shelters, community centers, senior centers, and of course in prisons. Now, you were at Las Colinas for many of these productions. What do you observe in terms of the audience reaction from the inmates and even from the staff there?
Absolutely. What we see is that the theater really invokes different emotions for people, and giving them the opportunity to be able to see how those emotions are connected to how their actions and behaviors are tied together. And what the Old Globe, in partnership with the Sheriff's Department, has given these people something that they may not have had before, and really given them the opportunity to be exposed to something. And the reactions that we feel in the room are one of gratitude and really accepting where they are through a creative platform.
I hear it's very emotional sometimes.
It can be very emotional, and part of that is looking at one's own self in a lot of what's happening in front of them and translating that, and then connecting with the actors and really connecting with the room and the energy that's in the room. And not only do we have the participants connected emotionally, but we have the staff and really the commitment to what reentry brings to those participants. The Old Globe has really helped us in that process.
What the Old Globe is doing here may seem novel or singular, but in fact it is part of a larger movement to bring Shakespeare to prisons all over the world, and that is the subject of a conference that begins tomorrow. tomorrow here at the Old Globe. Can you tell us briefly? We have just about 10 or 15 seconds to summarize this.
So the Shakespeare in Prisons Conference, we'll be hosting it here at the Old Globe. It begins tomorrow evening with an opening reception, and it's basically a gathering of arts practitioners and people who just care about what's going on in our prisons. And we get together, we're going to talk, we're going to share the work we're doing, talk about the things that concern the communities we serve, and just have a wonderful corporate gathering to help us go back out and do some more.
Do some good work. We are uplifted and we are inspired, and this is what the Old Globe is all about. We're live from the Old Globe tonight. I'm Sasha Foo. Back to you at Costera.
All right, see you later. Thank you, Sasha.